Hello, my name is Genevieve Wiltsey, and this is my CSS Media Queries student presentation for CIT 230 Front-End Development. With this presentation, I'm going to give a general overview, then show you some examples, and then demonstrate a specific media query to a program and see what the result is. What exactly is a media query? Media query is a CSS technique introduced in CSS2 and has continued to grow as technology has evolved. It uses the @media rule to include a block of CSS properties only if a certain condition is true. And I will be showing you a specific example shortly so you can see what I mean by that. But first, why is media query important? We touched on it briefly when I said technology is evolving. Using media queries is a popular technique, and it delivers a tailored style sheet, also known as responsive web design, to desktops, laptops, tablets, and mobile phones. We also have the ability to specify width and height of the viewport, width and height of the device, the orientation, whether it's going to be landscape or portrait mode for tablet or phone, as well as the resolution. And in addition to media types, there's also media features. We want good user experience, and there's so many different devices and screens looking at the same content, but each device or screen sees the content differently. We can control how the user sees the content and what content the user sees depending on the device or screen they have, and we do that by using the @media rule. I think it's important to know that the @media rule is being supported by the majority of browsers, and the chart here shows the top browsers that support it and the first versions that do. You'll note that version 9 of Explorer supports the @media rule, but if someone, let's say, has a version 8 or earlier, it won't support it. So the user will definitely have a different experience, and it probably won't be as nice. But there's ways of getting around that too, but that's for a different presentation. Let's look at some specifics now and focus on the media rule. This is what it looks like, and this is how we should be writing it. It is highly recommended that you write this out first before you write the specifics inside. So just start with @media and then your parentheses, your open and close bracket. Then you can start entering your information. This just reduces any risk of making mistakes. I came across this website. It's CSSmediaqueries.com. I thought it was fantastic. And it just shows you what media rules are applicable to your browser. For example, I use Chrome, and so some of these @media rules aren't applicable. Chrome doesn't read them for the user. So if you're using Firefox or Explorer, this is something that you can use and decide what you want to put into your CSS. And I want to start looking at examples with the @media rules and just reiterate that really it gives us so much flexibility. It allows us to change the layout of our site or application based on different circumstances. For example, if our site has a 2-column layout, we can specify that the sidebar column drop to the bottom or become horizontally oriented, or we can remove it completely on smaller resolutions. Small devices such as smartphones, you can serve a completely different style sheet that eliminates everything except the bare necessities. And we can also change the size of images and other elements that don't usually conform to a user's device or screen resolution. So the amount of flexibility is incredible, and it just really allows us to customize the experience of virtually any device. And that way we can keep the most important information as well as the brand accessible when they're reading the website. This here is an example of using the @media rule for a screen breakpoint. So when the browser window gets smaller than 768 pixels for this example, we want to make sure that the column width is still 100% so that the user can read or see what it is that we have. And this allows, these rules allow this to happen, whether they're on a desktop or whether they're on the mobile phone. And you can also write rules for tablets as well. But there's just tons of screens and devices with different heights and widths. So it's really hard to create an exact breakpoint for each device. So here I've written the 5 most common breakpoint examples, all the way from small or extra small devices up to extra large devices for phones and tablets and desktops and laptops. So you can just see there's not a lot of code that needs to be written, which is great for this too. These are the sources that I've used to learn about all of this. I highly recommend reading the chapter 10 this week. And I just want to go now into actually demonstrating to you using the @media rule and how it affects the layout here. So, okay, I'm just going to close that. Okay. So this here is a program that I wrote based on chapters, I think 3 and 4 from our textbook, and it was how to do a form. And this is the code. This is the HTML, and then I did the CSS. And now you can see that the background color that I've chosen is tan. Now the example that I'm going to put in here for the @media rule is that I want to change the color of the screen so that if it's 600 pixels or greater, it's going to be light blue, but if the user's screen pixel is less than 600, so 599 or less, their screen color will change to tan. And we know that with CSS, order is important, and typically the last rule is the rule that wins. So as I said before, what we should do is start with @media, and we're going to go with our parentheses and then our open and close bracket. So I have that. Now I can start putting in my information. Now with this rule that I want, I'm going to go only screen, and then inside my parentheses, I'm going to be putting min width colon 600 pixels, and then I am going to be changing the color in the body, and we are going to say the background will change to light blue. Okay, and then we are going to save it, and we're going to minimize and refresh, and now we have light blue. But how can I tell if this new rule, this @media rule, is responsive? So what you can do is go into your top right corner for your Chrome and click on the 3 buttons. Go to More Tools, find your Developer Tools, and you want to go with your elements. So you can see here I'm starting with, I'm going to just move my screen here with over 1600 pixels, and I'm getting smaller and smaller. Now remember, our rule said that 600 pixels or above, and this is our @media rule, so 600 pixels or above, it'll be a light blue, and anything less should turn back to our tan, which was our first rule. So let's see what happens when I shrink the screen. And we're at 900, going down, down, down. Okay, we're getting close, and let's see what happens. There we go. So there's 600 and 599. You can see it went back to tan. So if there was a device that had 599 pixels or less, their screen would show tan, and anything greater than that would go into a light blue. So this is just a simple example to show you how it works. And there are many rules that you can write, and you can certainly find those online. But if you have any questions, please feel free to ask, and I will do my best to help you. Thanks so much.